Hello, welcome to Nia's Perspectives, and this is the My Life with Money series. Basically, to give you background, the My Life with Money series is just a way to normalize talk about money. So I'm interviewing different individuals to discuss their transformations and their journey with money. It doesn't cost you anything to hit the like and subscribe button. We need you to hit those buttons right now. If you don't know me, I am Nia. What I do is I take individuals from stressed and struggling to empowered about money so that they can achieve financial freedom. So we'll get right to it. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself today?
Sure. Nia, thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor to be on your show.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I love what you're doing. I think it's a much needed advice and service for today, especially given the challenging environment that we're in. So, a little bit about me. I'm actually an author, a motivational speaker, as well as a career consultant, and I own my own business. And so, the main part of my job was speaking, of course, still COVID-19. And then right now there's a lot of virtual meetings. And so I've got the privilege and chance to travel across the world speaking to high school students, college students, as well as adults on career development and most importantly, finding your passion in life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and I imagine like it is. And that's why I wanted to do it because I'm not saying or to take a credit from experts. I mean, I'm an expert myself, but I wasn't always an expert. Like it took a path for me to get here, and I'm gonna interview some experts on the show also, but I kind of wanted to highlight like regular individuals, like everybody has a different connection or relationship with money, and sometimes we've overcome them different ways, and it might be one helpful for others to hear how, because they might be like, oh, I have that problem, like, oh, let me try that,
Right.
Or to just know that you're not alone. Like you might think your struggle is isolated and you have a whole, I don't know, football team right there with you. So I thought that it was important to do this and discuss. And it also gives people outlet to show the different businesses that people have created, the different outlets and ways and things that you can do to take your passion and go with it,
Absolutely.
Did you want to share with us your hobbies, interests?
Yeah, so when I'm not working, and I really love my job, so it's kind of that fine balance of doing a little work-life balance, but I really enjoy traveling. I always try to set aside.
Travel.
Yes, it's just so fun. I always try to set aside a time to make an international vacation. Now, that won't happen this year, but obviously next year can begin planning that process. Last year, I went to South Africa. It was absolutely
Nice.
beautiful, and so I spent about 10 days there. And then my other hobby is I enjoy working in the yard. I think that's so important to have a getaway as well as an activity.
It's right.
And
Like, believe it or not, my full name is Zania, which is actually a flower. I do
oh,
not have a green thumb. At all. At all. And I've even tried to grow my flower, which I believe is pronounced zinnia.
yeah,
Right. It's spelled the same way, but it's pronounced zinnia. My name is Zania.
right,
It's a flower that needs a lot of attention.
correct.
And being a newbie to gardening or just growing plants, period, I don't know how to give it the attention that it needs.
Yeah, I'm the good as far as the labor, and I can water things, and that's where I really enjoy it. I do have flowers, but it's ironically we do have some zinnias out here too, and
Really?
yeah,
Nice.
it's an annual flower. I'll have to show you later.
Oh, where are you from originally?
So I was actually born in Michigan, but I spent most of my life in a small town called Wartburg, Tennessee. My grandmother raised me since I was 10 years old. So that's where some people can tell I have a little bit of a Southern accent.
You do. Because when you said Michigan, I was thinking in my head, like, Michigan? Like, oh,
Southern
okay.
accent.
That's why you don't judge a book by its cover. And so do you have a 9 to 5 business? I mean, right now, or just your business, right? You're a full-time entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I'm actually in marketing and I work in the pharmaceutical industry full time, but on the side, my side business is where I'm really grown as far as professionally, and that's kind of my passion area.
Mm-hmm.
I always encourage people before they jump into anything full time, they should really start at part time on the side to make sure you have the boat close enough to the dock before you jump off.
I think that's a
So,
perfect analogy too.
and so it's absolutely important to make sure that you are ready and everything like that. But I enjoy actually both endeavors right now, and so just a great position to be at where I am right now.
It really is. It really is. It's not that's not something you hear everybody say either, that they can say that they like both. I am too. I like both. I have a 9 to 5 still, and this is my side, part time. But I love them both. I'm, like people talk about, oh well, where are you leaving? That's not really in my immediate plans to leave. Like,
Right. The same thing.
that's right. That's not. I'm okay. I'm happy.
Right.
So let's get down to it. So what do you, like, when you think back, when you like personal finance education, financial literacy, did you receive any of that growing up? Did you kind of have to learn on your own?
This is kind of what drew me to your subject. I think it's so important because when I talk to high school students and college students mainly, there's not a lot of learning that takes place when they're young. So I was blessed to have a wonderful grandmother who actually passed away this February.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry to hear that.
oh, thank you. She taught me really the value of a dollar. And we grew up pretty poor, growing up in a small community. Living on a fixed income and all that kind of stuff. So I started working part time when I was 15. My first job was at Wendy's, and still a Wendy's fan. And then
I
I
am
worked,
too.
and then I worked at Hardee's, and then in college I worked 3 part-time jobs as well. So always knew the value of a dollar in work, and always was good at the saving component. But I think if I look back, if I hadn't been blessed with this wonderful grandmother and the situation that I was in, would I have treated money differently? And I do believe I would have, because I think now I live on a very modest income. A budget's key to financing. But, I think to answer your question, my background with money was really due to my grandmother, and
Mhm.
it was not taught in school.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's why I kind of asked everybody, because I want to kind of look at, like, if you received any education, and then how did you actually, the knowledge that you have, like how did you come about it if you didn't have anybody? But that's great. That's awesome that you had somebody there teaching you.
Yeah, and also then I got involved with when I was in college. I read the book The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey,
Mm-hmm.
and his principles really stuck with me a lot of my life about living that debt-free life, and less debt, less stress, and you can control your career. And guess what? That kind of goes along with what I'm doing now. So I think you're exactly right. There's a void in the elementary, high school level right now, and that's where you serve a great need right now.
It is. And I feel like it's important. And I'm not saying that it will end world hunger, or, it will solve all the problems. But I think that that's a big part, that if we, for one, learn the value of money at a younger age, we would make more chess moves as opposed to checkers when it comes to
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's important, because it can shift your life. Like, maybe you might not be on top right now, but you have the knowledge to plant the correct seeds and know how to nurture them, so that in 5 to 10 years, though, you're far. You look back like, wow, I can't believe I used to, like, seriously, it makes a difference in the long run.
It does, and starting early is the key too. If you're never too early to start, and you're never too late to start, and you can begin budgeting, saving right now. And so, I absolutely agree with everything that you're doing as far as your principles.
Thank you. I like that. Like, I even teach parents, like, even if they have, it could be a toddler, and you want to start teaching them how they can save. Get a clear glass bottle and drop dollars in it. And they'll notice, like, even though you can't, maybe they don't explain or understand the concept, but they can see the fact that the more money you put in there, it's growing. And it's like, how did you get all that money? Like, oh my God, because remember, we kept putting the money in there, you know, but they see it because the container is clear. Like, so just starting to plant those seeds early and then add the fundamentals behind it. And then I also tell parents to, you know, reward them for solving problems. Like, if they solve a problem, reward them for that, because that'll motivate them to have more of a problem solving brain, which I think will help them become better entrepreneurs and help them, you know, become better with solving money problems. Like, basically, a lot of technology now doesn't require them to really use their brain much.
Right. You know, one of the things one of my grandmothers used to do, she used to buy us, which is, I mean, you can argue that's not a great rate of return, but she would buy all the grandkids a U.S. savings bond.
Oh, I did that for my daughter too.
And they look cool. And so as a kid, that was our last Christmas gift. We'd always get a U.S. savings bond every single Christmas. And she kept it in her envelope at our home. And we always kind of knew that was there. And guess what? When we all went on to go to college, we called up grandmother and we're like, hey, or she would say, hey, you still got savings bonds over here. And then we go back and you saw all those savings bonds, and you can even remember when you got those on Christmas. It's actually amazing, because you can remember when you're 12 and you get $100 savings bond, how you felt.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of ingrained that into it. I think that's good for kids to see too, you know.
It is. So I did the same thing for my daughter. I bought her bonds when she was younger, and I bought them for a while. And then same thing when she went to college, because I'm a single parent. So, you know, it's on me. And so when she went to college, that's what we used for books. We bought her a fresh, brand new laptop when she started school. So she had she can take it through her entire, well, not, you know, it might not last the entire, but at least through her undergrad. It should be a good help until she needs another one, to be able to start fresh and not have to have that worry about money. You know, like, I pay for myself for school through my bachelor's, but she doesn't have that, because we did things to prepare that wasn't much. I think they were like $25, $50 each bond.
Right.
It wasn't much to do in small portions. So I actually did the same thing.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great. It's a great learning too.
It was helpful too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was very glad that that was an expense I didn't have to cover when she was going to college. I know this is taken care of. I know this, because you already they give you enough fees. Like, I don't need any other.
Yeah, right. And even a couple of years, it might be the cost of their textbooks.
Yep, exactly.
So that money does help in the long run.
It does. It does. What would you say would be your challenges? Like, do you have any challenges you consider to have with money?
Yeah, you know, I think everybody does. And I think for me, you know, growing up poor, and I've been learning this over my life, is that one of the most important things you can do with money is give. And giving changes everything about your life. And for me, I've always kind of been on the cheap side. I've always been good at that saving muscle, putting money away. But it's also great to give. And so I set up little initiatives all year to make sure I'm exercising that muscle. So I've got 3 main groups that I focus on. St. Jude Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, who help cancer patients. I work in the community in Atlanta for the Covenant House. So I always go there and feed them lunch, usually for the whole facility, and speak on career development and job interviewing. And then the number 3 thing at Christmas, my most favorite thing to do, and I believe when you give in person, it changes your spirit and who you are. But I like to go to a Waffle House or any place on Christmas, go to several different places, order a cup of coffee for $1.99, and leave that waitress a $100 bill. Because I feel if they're working on Christmas Eve or Christmas, there's a reason why they are. And so that will change your perspective on giving.
Oh yeah, I agree. So like, I do that too. I give, like, of course I teach financial literacy. So I have the ability that I can, like, I do like YMCA classes, a lot of homeless shelters, different community organizations, same thing. It does. And it makes you feel good. You know, you're not like you're doing it to be, but it makes you feel good that you're actually actively doing something. So I can agree with that. I've never done the coffee with the tip though. I might try that one. I've never done that. But I'm sure that's something that would make them, like you say, you're at work, you're having to work on Christmas. I'm pretty sure that brightens their day.
Right, it does. And I've seen tears fly and stories of people who have really needed it, or maybe they've been down to their last check. So it really can. And like what you're teaching, I mean, if you're out of debt and you're saving for retirement, and you're saving for college, but you also have to have a little money to give. And that will change your spirit and value things more. So instead of me getting a Louis Vuitton wallet, you know, I would much rather give away that $300 for Christmas.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. All right. So how do you say, okay, so you said that your challenges with money was that what did you say the challenge you had with it was?
The challenge was for me to give money.
So you had to learn.
You know, like, I think you also have to enjoy money. You can't hoard it all your life, because you don't want to be that 80-year-old guy that dies lonely with a big bank account or cash under their mattresses or anything like that. So I think for me, you know, what I've really done is work with these charities to get on the front.
How did you get to that point? Right. So
yeah, once you start working in charities or ministry or anything like that, it begins to start changing your perspective on money. You know, that you're not going to take it to the grave. I'm not rich by any means, but you know what I'm saying? You're not going to, sometimes you'll even decide to give over something that you want, like a luxury item. But I do think it's important to have toys too. I have, full disclosure, I have a brand new iPhone. So, I mean, you gotta have some fun in life, right? But
definitely.
But I don't need a Rolls Royce out in my driveway right now, and I can't afford one. So, you know, that's the kind of decisions that you have to make. And it's a daily battle. I don't think for me, I'm a big spender, but I think oftentimes if I do spend it, it's not a well-researched choice. So, you know, if I go to see, I'm an impulse buyer. Mm-hmm. So
most people are.
I just want this. I'll go ahead and buy it.
And you want it now, right? Exactly. You want it at that moment.
If you slow down, take a cold shower, and you wake up, and it may change how you buy things. And I always encourage people, before big purchases, just think on it.
And research, definitely.
Do your homework. Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. The one who has the most research usually wins the negotiation.
Mm-hmm. So. Okay. So thinking about, like, you said that your grandmother taught you the value of money. Like, what do you consider to be your mindset about money? I see you said that you like to give. That's definitely an interesting perspective. I've done a couple of these videos so far. I have about 11 lined up to kind of kick it off with. But that's a good perspective that I hadn't heard, like to give and start off with going to different charities. And it's true, because one thing I've learned with traveling, you go and you learn, and where you think, you know, that you might be down, or you think that you're, you know, having the pits and it's so horrible, you're living the fab life. And, like, you know, just calm your worries.
I think what you mean by that is life's perspective. And I teach that. And so what I tell students and professionals.
That's funny, because, you know, I teach money perspectives.
Exactly. And so, but I look at it from, you know, like a life perspective, as far as, that's why I take my international trips. It's, you know, like, I've been to beautiful places, but also I went to South Africa last year. Very beautiful place, but there's also, I mean, the poverty level over there. And when we were going through there, the shacks, no running water. Mm-hmm. And this is thousands and thousands of people, no TVs, no phones. They were burning tires for heat because it was in the winter time. Mm-hmm. And so you look at that perspective of what you've really been blessed with, it makes you less materialized, I think.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
where you need that new Rolex.
Minimalist because of my travel. I've become more of a minimalist. Plus, if you're traveling somewhere, and when I travel, I do the same thing. I don't really stay in a resort. I normally stay more so closer to locals when I travel. But if you can stay somewhere and be without something for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, do you really need it? If you spent 2 to 3 weeks and you never touched it, never thought about it, never missed it.
Right.
So I've become more of a minimalist because of my travels. Like, seriously, it has.
Me too. Same way. So a lot of people might come over to my house. I live in a very average house in the community, and they may come over and it's 3-bedroom, 1 bath. And then I say, well, Zach, why don't you get a bigger house? Well, one of my things is, well, what for? And so, you start, and I think society does that a lot to us. I tell people all the time, like, don't live that Instagram, Facebook lifestyle where you're chasing something, because you're never going to have enough money to beat everybody. There's always going to be somebody that has something nicer.
And that's a race I don't want to win anyway.
Right. I want to win life's race.
Right. Seriously.
And so, everybody's got a nicer handbag than somebody. Everybody's got a nicer car than somebody.
Always.
Everybody's got a nicer house. If you chase that game, you'd be broke all your life. And so I think that's why a lot of Americans struggle.
I agree. And that's kind of what they push it like that. Like, oh, you need this because, this is cool and this is what's hot and this is what you should have. And everybody has it. And it's like, I can't understand, like, the cell phone. Like, everybody has their vice. Like, everybody has their thing that they're willing to spend money on. And then what they prioritize. For me, cell phones are not it. Like, I can't get myself to spend. Like, so I haven't had a new phone that's like the hot phone in I don't know how many years, because I'm like, oh, I cannot spend this much on a phone.
And see, we're opposite, because I have to have the new phone.
See, that's the thing. Different people have what they want and what they want to spend, and nobody's saying that you can't. Like you say, you got your new iPhone. Nobody's saying you can't, but it's how you manage your money. Like, just make a plan for it. When do you think that you started to make the transition where you thought about giving and you made the decision? Like, you know what, this is something that I want to do. Like, what sparked that?
There's several moments over my life, but I think really when I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, that really began that transition. And part of the reason why is because, I think I began budgeting better. When you budget better, you find all of a sudden money, the hidden money that you haven't had in your life. I'm sure you worked with clients before that, you do a budget, you're like, wait a minute, you've got $300 extra every month. What's going? So, or prioritizing bills. Am I still paying $300 for cable? And I'm too lazy to call the company and switch.
Right.
So you have to make some of those decisions that nobody wants to make. That's why those TV companies and everything, they sign you up and they're like, well, you only start at $39.99, but we're going to go ahead and give you 500 channels. You get used to that, and a year later, it's now $300.
Exactly. It's just like the gym memberships. They sign you up, and they're expecting you not to be consistent and just forget all about that $30, $50 that's just coming out every month. And all through the winter, all through the summer, you're outside jogging on the track, and you're still paying for a gym membership because it's like you don't follow up on it, and you forget all about it because it just you're used to it coming out of your account.
And these companies are a lot smarter than me. Let's face it, they've got $1 million marketers that are tracked. Look what they've done to me and my phone. Before I was like, what's the big deal? Now I want the greatest, latest thing. So these marketers have become smart. And what they do is they sign you up subscription based to where it comes out of your card every month. And then all of a sudden you've got 50 of these things floating around.
Exactly.
And you're broke. And you're wondering where your money's going.
And you're constantly working, and then that's that rat race. That's that rat race. You get paid on Friday, you broke on Monday.
Right.
Paid on payday. I have a whole saying. I say paid on payday, broke on Monday. Something like that. Like, seriously. Because it's gone.
Exactly.
And add that with your impulse buys.
your impulse buys, your food budgets. I'm amazed how much people, that's probably my another one of my weaknesses. I'm pretty honest with what I like to buy a nice meal. I like
I
to
do
go.
too. I do too. I love a great, well-cooked steak. And so,
I like it medium rare, but but we're there on that same page.
oh yeah, I like my medium. So I'm not far from you. Not far from you.
Yep,
But yes, a well-cooked steak to perfection. Some
absolutely.
seafood, some delicious seafood.
Yep.
I
And
love.
me, you can do that and splurge, but I can't do it every night.
Oh
You
no, absolutely not. I
know,
can't tell you the last time I've done it. I can't.
right.
I'm on a mission
So
right
there's a balance. There's always a balance to
now. Agreed.
everything.
Even with travel, like I normally travel, but I travel budgets. I see some of these group trips and it's like $2,000 for Mexico, and I'm
Right.
like for Mexico, like
Right.
it's like I could do so much more than because I'm a budget traveler also. So I travel and I enjoy, but like you say, having a plan is a big one.
Right.
And just doing it in moderation. So it's like fitness. You do it in moderation. You can't do it every day,
Right.
but you just do it in moderation. Like, and it's okay.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about different types of income. So you have your business, you have your W-2. Do you invest? Do you have any other types of income?
Yeah, so I have the side business, but I do contribute to my 401k,
Mhm.
um, and so I think that's very important. I also do a Roth IRA as well, and so I contribute to that, and own my house. So the goal of that is to eventually have it paid off, where you can be completely debt free.
Okay.
And so hopefully I'll be able to do that in about 3 years, is to pay off my house.
Awesome sauce.
So, and then when you're completely debt free, just think how much, because people say, well, what are you going to do then? What's your next goal? Well, my next goal is to give, give more. And so, give more, enjoy life. And then you can really, I think me and you have something in common, because I'm more on the career side and you're more on the finance side, but a lot of times those two things go together.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, a lot of people I've seen been held back because they're broke and they can't do a job that they love to do.
Yes, very
So,
true. They're stuck doing what they have to do because they need
exactly.
a paycheck.
And so, how
Absolutely.
do we get them to that point where we meet them in the middle? Because I can't, for your side, cut them off and say, okay, well, go ahead and start painting your artwork and making no money every week. And how can you, from your side, say, well, you may have to do this for a year or two before you can get experience to do your ultimate dream? So
Mhm.
I think we align perfectly.
Mhm.
And so, but those are some of the things that I invest in. Good growth stock mutual funds, usually an S&P index fund that is averaged 11%. I don't give any investing advice, like that's what I do, not encouraging
Yeah,
any.
no investment advice. I just think it's important to
Right.
have multiple different types of income. Like,
It
um,
is. And
unfortunately now, like it used to be where you could save. Like that's my only disagreement with like the Dave Ramsey. He's more a little bit an old school in some of his methods that don't kind of apply. Like if Dave Ramsey had his way, he would say you pay your house in cash.
right, right. And
So
not everybody can do that, sure.
right, and even if it was like if I honestly had 300,000, 400,000, I would rather purchase multiple properties and have investment properties. You know what I mean, to make my money grow and have some assets helping pay for it. So it's like our economy doesn't allow us to just save, and that's all we need to do for
Right,
retirement. So it's
right.
important to have like multiple avenues. It's kind of like shooting firecrackers, over.
Yep.
That's what we're dealing with. So we kind
And
of have to do that.
you make a good point, because I've got to interview a lot of people over my time, just on their careers, and usually the most prominent and financially successful people are business owners. And you ask them, well, what do they do with their money? Because you want to learn too, but all of them have that theme in common: multiple streams of income.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the big question. Everybody say, well, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, but I put a focus on that because they're not very often to discuss, well, what type of incomes do they have? If you look at their incomes, like myself, I tried to create passive income streams. I like, working. I love my business, but if I want to create something else beside those two, I try to make it passive. I don't want to have 4 jobs. Like,
Right.
I don't want to, because even if it is my business, if the only way I make $1 is if I'm working, then that's still another job I've created.
Right.
I just own the job, but I still create another job. So I try to get into types of income and get that discussion started, because everybody says, oh, well, a millionaire has 7 incomes. But what kind? Get into what kind of incomes they have, because they're not clocking 7 jobs. There's no way they're clocking 7 time clocks. But it's true. That's kind of where we are. Like, it's no way to get ahead now unless you don't. And the prices are constantly and now some things are expensive even during what's going on now because the shortages here. And it's just, you're getting pulled from everywhere. You have high rents. Well, the mortgage rates are kind of low now, but
right.
The inventory is low or right along with them. So,
right.
So it's just so many ways that we get money pulled. You just got just student loans, taxes, children. It's like so many different avenues that you have money leaving. Create some ways for you can have more money coming in.
Yep. Great advice. Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us, you talked about, your business with careers, and give us a full, what do you do with your business?
Yeah, so the main thing I do is motivational speaking or professional speaking. And so that includes, I'm really excited because I'll be launching a new book in the fall called Don't Be a Zombie.
Okay.
Find a career you love. And so I'm working with a publisher right now on the designs on that. So that'll be my second published book that's coming this fall. I've also got some great things and initiatives coming out as far as virtual learning classes on finding a career you love, as well as job interviewing.
Nice.
And so those will be launching in fall, and then I'll be doing some other campaigns as well as virtual speaking events. And so I'm really excited about helping people find, whether you're a college student, whether you're a millennial in a job you hate, or maybe you're near retirement and you need a second encore career, helping and people in that type of generation. So that's where my main business focus is to helping people find a career they love, and then continuing that career development. Just because you're in a job you love, you don't stop there. You continue that career development the rest of your life, because things are going to change, aka coronavirus.
Oh my goodness. If that didn't teach anybody that lesson, you are spot on. If coronavirus did not swing through here and teach people, all this time I've been talking to my face is blue about emergency fund and put away for a rainy day. And it's coronavirus came in, I can show you, seriously, the shift that it came and created. Definitely keep learning, keep pushing for those career goals, because you need to be able to adapt. You have to in this world. So one more thing, and then I'll have you share where they can find you.
Sure.
So you find out about this book when it drops. Our little birdie told me you did a TED Talk.
I did. I actually did too.
Oh, you did too? Okay, I saw you live.
So I did one at the Oracle Center in Redwood City, California, on Discover Your Passion, Life is Short.
Okay.
And that was a great one, and that was about a year ago. And then the most recent one I did was in Boston. It was in the fall, and that was a problem I was seeing at schools. It was bullying from high school level to elementary.
Uh-huh.
And I'm more of a career person. So a lot of people ask, well, what's bullying have to do? Well, I was talking to administrators in schools and reading teenage suicide statistics. And then I started speaking at these schools, and then I started hearing these stories about these kids were taking their life over, being bullied and pressured in school. And
seriously, it has happened a lot.
And so I did a TED Talk in Boston on that. So those are the two.
Yes, I just wanted you to share that for
Thank you.
You guys who don't know, as a speaker, getting a TED Talk is a goal. Talk about lifetime goals. So congratulations to you for that. Let them know where they can talk to you, where they can find you, and then send me all the links and I'll make sure I put them in the description for you.
Absolutely. So the best way people can find me, because generations use different types of social media, and so for my age, I'm on Facebook, and for a lot of the younger kids, they're not. So the best way you can find me is Zack Ballinger, ZackBallingr.com. And it's got all four of my social media links there, right there: my Instagram, my LinkedIn, my Facebook, and my YouTube. And those give every generation a flavor for them to be able to follow my content.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you so much for coming. If you enjoyed this interview, definitely hit like and subscribe. There will be more to come. I'm going to try to drop at least once a week. Don't shoot me if I don't, but I'm going to try. But thank you. So see you on the next one.